A South Korean court has issued an arrest warrant for impeached, suspended President Yoon Suk Yeol. Yoon has been impeached and suspended from power over his decision to impose martial law on December 3rd. He is facing a criminal investigation into possible insurrection charges, while the ruling party interim leader said that attempting to detain a sitting president is not appropriate. Now, this is the first ever arrest warrant issued for an incumbent president in South Korea. On Monday, South Korean investigators sought an arrest warrant for Yoon over this month's short-lived imposition of martial law. Police have tried but failed to successfully raid the presidential office as part of the investigation. Insurrection is one of the few charges for which a South Korean president does not have immunity. Yoon was suspended from presidential powers after being impeached by parliament over his decision to briefly impose martial law. Masked martial law troops equipped with rifles, body armor and night vision equipment entered the parliament, where they faced off with staffers who opposed them with fire extinguishers. The decree lasted just hours until the parliament voted it down and Yoon backed down. All right, DD India's Amit Mukherjee joins us with the latest on this. Amit, good morning. Now, we've seen that the already impeached and suspended South Korean president is now facing an arrest warrant. Help us understand, how is the situation unfolding in South Korea? How serious or grave is this? And what options does Yoon have at his hand right now?
Good morning, Preeti. Actually, things are unfolding in a very, very dramatic way as far as South Korea is concerned. Now, one has to understand why this step has been taken by the court of issuing summon, in fact, arrest warrant, because earlier there have been 3 occasions where the court had issued summons to the impeached President Yoon to appear before the prosecution panel to cooperate with the investigation. Now, on all the 3 occasions, Yoon has refused to appear before that. He turned down those summons. The last one being on 29th of December, where he was again asked to cooperate with the prosecutors panel to come and help with the investigations, when he has not done that, following which the office of, the corruption investigation office, which is the CIO, appealed before the court to issue a summon to ensure that, not only to ensure a summon, but also issue arrest warrant so that, Yoon appears before the prosecution panel and answers all the questions which are pending right now, which led to the imposition of this martial law on 3rd of December, which actually saw a lot of turmoil around. I mean, that was the focal point, the tipping point after which, the whole episode of impeachment was kind of, brought into the parliament of South Korea. And finally, we saw President Yoon being impeached. Now, also the other thing is that Yoon's own prosecutors, his own legal team, has been challenging the entire, probe which is going on for the process of insurrection. They're saying that the team which is probing it, which is a composition of law enforcing authorities and defense personnel also. So Yoon's team is questioning the validity of this prosecution panel, which is probing the entire issue of impeachment, and will be eventually submitting its report before the court, after which the court takes a decision whether to kind of finally endorse the impeachment process or not. So number 2 is that, 1, he has not been respecting the summons issued by the court to appear for investigation. 2nd, his own team is challenging the entire process of the investigation. And also, the defense minister, Kim Yong-hyun, who has been also instrumental in the entire process of the imposition of the martial law, he has now been arrested. Now, basis that, the prosecution is now building up the case, because all the testimony which has now been submitted by the former defense minister, who is now under arrest, he is actually helping in the investigation to build the case against President Yoon. And also a 10-page report that has been submitted by the prosecution panel before the court, following which this the arrest warrants have been issued. That 10-page report clearly mentions how the entire process had unfolded, the process of implementing this martial law, where President Yoon not only ordered, soldiers to be kind of marched along the assembly, and also, in fact, he had issued shooting orders also, if the allegations are to be believed as of now. Preeti?
All right, Amit, now this political turmoil in South Korea, will definitely have a bearing on the country. But what repercussions or what fallout will it have on the Korean Peninsula, in the region? Because we've seen already the situation is tense in the Korean Peninsula. Will it somehow have a bearing in the region as well?
Well, Preeti, it's a very, very unprecedented situation if you look at the overall, condition of South Korea right now. Because number one, President Yoon will be the first president who has been issued against whom arrest warrants have been issued. Secondly, the tragic plane crash which had just happened, the entire country is in a state of mourning. Third, there has been a power struggle between North Korea and South Korea in this region, and both the countries have their allies fixed. North Korea has very clearly, we see the alignment with Russia. South Korea has been aligned with the West, and of course Russia and the West, they are not on very good terms as of now, as we know from the Ukraine war, what the equation right there is. And another thing is that even the world is looking at the financial market of South Korea. If you look at the Korean the index, which is like the KOSPI,
yes,
it is one of the key indexes which the world looks at every morning, in terms of, analyzing the financial market situation. So, in fact, the caretaker prime minister also, Choi Song-mok, as well as Han Duck-soo, who was again the second, who was the caretaker prime minister who was impeached. They have also been talking about that South Korea is walking on a thin ice right now. And one must also, he had appealed to the opposition not to kind of take this, entire issue of opposing and creating whatever the situation right now is. So they have been pleading the world, pleading its own leaders that we must also look at our own, financial institutions, our economy, so that because of this turmoil, it doesn't get hurt. If that happens, that would also have some repercussions at the global level. Preeti?
All right, Amit, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details.